Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Great to be with you on, I think one of the few rainy days we're actually going to have here. It's going to really warm up. Very nice.
It's going to be very nice for golfing, sir. Someone who's got a golf shirt on right now would be pretty nice.
I played the last 2 days. Yeah, I got like 11 holes in Monday, 12 holes yesterday. Whatever.
Not bad.
People say, how come you don't play 18? I go, well, you get to a point like, okay, I'm done. We're good. I don't need to get behind people and like wait and no. Just no. So don't want to do it that way.
Penn State men's basketball. We have their home and away schedule for this coming season, Steve Jones.
It's fun.
Penn State men's basketball home and away this year will be Nebraska, Ohio State, and Rutgers. So they're going to play both home and away against them. The teams that are coming to the BJC only are Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, Northwestern, Oregon, Purdue, and Washington. And then the away-only games are Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and both California, UCLA, and USC schools. So a little West Coast California trip at some point in there, and then the two, Oregon, Washington, are going to come east.
Well, when you do the California swing, you typically stay in a hotel.
And then go to either game.
You can go to either game. I've heard a couple of teams will change hotels. But when Penn State did it 2 years ago, they stayed at a place, which is fine.
And you could say somewhat centrally for both. It's not like you're driving 2.5 hours to each place. Traffic.
Exactly. It was actually a little more. It was closer to Westwood than it was to downtown LA, but still. And so you get out there. It's not really a difficult trip.
No.
To be frank with you.
As soon as you're there, you're there.
Yeah. Once you're there, you're there. You just have to work out practice facilities. So, they worked out at UCLA. Then they went and they worked out at the Clippers facility. That's when I knew that they really wanted to talk to Yannick because they spent a lot of time talking to Yannick. And then they had shoot around at USC and came back. It's going to be interesting to see how they sequence the games because they experimented this year in the Big Ten. When Penn State played out there, they played Saturday, Tuesday. And all of us were like, as much as we enjoyed being out in the warm weather, and it was Super Bowl Sunday as well. So Dick and I, went over to Santa Anita and spent race day there, and then we went and watched the game at a restaurant.
Not bad.
With some friends of Dick's. So we had our own room and the whole thing. It was great. But how about Saturday, Monday? Doesn't that make maybe more sense to do it that way instead of Saturday, Tuesday? Because when you're playing that second game and it's a weeknight game, it's going to be 6 o'clock there, but 9 o'clock in the East.
I guess at that point it means you're flying out on a Friday to get there for stay over Friday.
You probably go Thursday.
So you fly out Thursday. And if you're playing Saturday, so you fly out Thursday for a Saturday game, and then if your game is on Tuesday, it means you don't fly back until after that game ends.
That's right.
And if that game is, let's say, a 7 p.m. tip in California, that means it's not ending till 10 p.m. And at that point, if you're going to fly back immediately, you're not getting home until 2, 3 in the morning.
And they did that, for example, Oregon came to play Purdue, Indiana, and one of the games was Saturday, the other one's Monday, and they said, "Well, I said I like that schedule better," and they said the conference is experimenting with it, and so we'll see if they do it that way. But that's a trip, 2 games. Now, the home and aways, Ohio State's easy.
Rutgers
is easy. The difficult one is the home and away is Nebraska. It means you got to go back out there. Dick Girardi, when I was telling Dick about this yesterday, we were talking about it. He says, why do you do home and away with Ohio State, Rutgers, Maryland? I kind of regionalize because the West Coast teams are playing playing each other, because you're trying to cut down on travel for them. Why don't you
group them all together?
Why don't you do it like for everybody else?
Let's say you group together the 2 Michigan schools with, maybe you get them with Illinois and Northwestern. I don't know what the number's going to be, but maybe you group them all together that way.
I mean, you could take, so let's take Indiana, Purdue, Northwestern, and Illinois. Mm-hmm. Well, you can do home away with the other 3. Mm-hmm. It's nice and easy. Yeah. Right, so Penn State, the closest ones are Ohio State, Rutgers, Maryland. So I mean, because for Dick, travel-wise, it's exponentially better for him. It's a quick trip down to Maryland. It's a quick trip over to Rutgers. I mean, same thing.
Quick flight to Columbus, not crazy.
Right, and so I understand that, and I told you what the exchange was, and he said it's the Big Ten. I said, when does it make sense? And he said,
never.
And Dick says rarely. And I said, you have to remember, I said, because Penn State has to play at Nebraska, has to play at Iowa to go with the West Coast trip. So the 4 longest trips in the Big Ten would be to Los Angeles, the combo of going to Seattle, Oregon, and after that, the next 2 are Nebraska and Iowa. And Iowa's with Minnesota's close.
Mm-hmm. So, and you've got Minnesota 2, so you have 4 of the 5.
Is Penn State going to Minnesota?
Penn State is at Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan State, the Californias, and Wisconsin.
So 4 of the 5 longest trips you can have. And again, the players are on charters, so it's not, it's not that prohibitive.
No.
But
still a lot.
It's a lot. And so those are 4 of the 5 longest trips you can have, and you're only going to get one of the 2 West Coasts anyway.
Mm-hmm. So that's physically the most you can get in a season.
Season is that. But I said, Dick, you have to remember, I said, for the Big Ten, the important part is get on the plane, show up, because you're filling a TV time slot. Mm-hmm. I mean, football and basketball, football and men's basketball are TV shows.
Yeah.
They fill time slots. Mm-hmm. And that's what the networks pay for. I know you see other sports on BTN and so forth. They don't pay for that.
No.
Hey, that's one of those like, hey, you're part of the conference. We'll carry whatever. We'll spend money, but the contracts are for football and men's basketball. So that's why you have the possibility of playing any one of the 7 days during the course of a week. You have the possibility of playing at all different times. And your job is like the NBA or the NHL or Major League Baseball or the NFL is to fill a time spot.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And I know they do put a lot of thought into how many days in between. It's the 3rd year now doing this with the West Coast teams.
So the first year was an experiment year. Last year was a tweak. Yeah. This year is going to be probably what it's going to end up being going forward. Is that fair?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay.
They've been experimenting like the Saturday, Monday deal. Mm-hmm. I think they wanted to get feedback from Dana Altman. How did you feel about it? I don't know if UCLA did it. That would be the one I'd ask more than anybody, because Mick is vocal about
travel.
About a lot of things that the conference does. And it's not, there goes Mick again. It's not as if Mick's wrong, okay? Mick Cronin I'm talking about. It's not as if he's wrong about things. I mean, you need to listen to him because he does live it. And I think that, now, for all we know, Saturday, Monday. I mean, Monday's a time slot they'd like to fill anyway.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of the more difficult ones to fill. Mm-hmm. And the way the Pac-12, Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12, the way they used to do it was you'd play Thursday, Saturday all the time. Mm-hmm. Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. That's how they did it. You'd play, so, back in the old Pac, this is the old Pac-10 days before they added Utah and Colorado. You'd play, all right, we're going to go to Arizona. Arizona State one day, Arizona State the next. We're going to go to San Francisco. Cal one day, Stanford the other day. The LA thing we've talked about. Mm-hmm. Oregon State, right? Now, the only one where they're really separated is Washington and Washington State. They are at opposite ends of what is actually a decent-sized state. So it's a little more difficult, Pullman to Seattle, Seattle-Pullman.
It'd be easier if you had Pullman and you had Boise State in there. It'd be even easier at that point.
That's actually easier, but that's how they would do it. Because Corvallis and Eugene are only separated by about, 60 miles? Something like that. Stanford and Cal are separated by, 30 miles, maybe 20.
It's generally under an hour for most of these quick trips for them.
Right, and Tucson, Phoenix, a little further apart than you realize, but it's not like Pullman and Seattle. Then when they added in Utah and Colorado, there is a distance between the two. But they would always group these 2-game trips in there, and that's how they did it.
Smart.
Oh, no. Well, no. When the teams come east,
they have a 2-game trip.
It's always Rutgers, Maryland. It's always Ohio State, Penn State. It's always Michigan, Michigan State. I mean, that's how they do it. So they put thought into it. In terms of the sequencing, who you have home and away, I always start with the home and aways because you're guaranteed 2 games with them. All 3 of those are workable. I don't mean just travel. I mean talking about what I know about at least the rosters so far. What I know about the rosters so far, it's workable. And it's not bad for Penn State. The games that you have at home, you've got Michigan at home. You've got Michigan State at home. I mean, that
no Michigan State at home.
That's right. That's
you have Michigan at home. You have Indiana home. Maryland.
Indiana's the one I was thinking of.
Purdue, Northwestern, Oregon, Washington.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, to me, that's fine to have that kind of home schedule where you're guaranteed. And look, Penn State played at Nebraska last year, but it was a one play. This time it's a home and away. Okay. But other than that, I don't really have any issue about the sequencing of games or anything like that. I really don't. Now it's going to be like what order they're in. Who are is there a tough week where it's like you're traveling to Iowa, coming back home for a game, traveling to Nebraska? That's where it's tough. Well, you look, for example, Penn State last year. They come out of the gate, they're at Indiana, and then they came home and played Michigan State.
Yeah.
And then they started out the second half by playing Michigan at home.
They had Illinois in Philly,
Illinois
Michigan
in Philly,
home.
Then Michigan home, then at Purdue.
Yeah, and that's rough.
You're like going, oh. Well, in this, so in this particular year, not great. So a non-NCAA team that under the 76 one would have made it, followed by a team that made the NCAAs, followed by a Sweet 16, a Final Four team, followed by another Final Four team, followed by an Elite 8 team. Other than that,
normal.
Yeah,
normal schedule. When it comes to schedules, speaking of, the NFL is having their schedule rollout this week. The official full schedules drop tomorrow, but we do have the international slate games. Steve Jones.
Goody.
So, week number 1, the 49ers and Rams are playing in Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia. That is week number 1.
And that'll be on Netflix.
Week 3, September 27th, the Baltimore Ravens and Dallas Cowboys play in the Maracanã in Brazil. So they're going to be in Rio at 4:25 on that day.
Great.
October 4th, the Colts and Commanders traveled to London to play in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 1 week later, the Eagles and Jaguars play in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, both in London. That's week 5 on October 11th.
Can I make one quick point about that?
Go for it.
What is the NFLPA trying to push the NFL on right now? Playing on grass fields. And look, the World Cup's going to, because the World Cup's coming in, and it's mandatory you play on grass. So MetLife is going to have grass, trays of grass.
The trays of grass are put in there. They're put in other stadiums already.
Yeah, they're doing it at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. They're doing it at Jerry World in Arlington, SoFi in Los Angeles, so forth. Well, you took Tottenham Hotspurs. And see, in the Premier League, they play on grass. Well, J.C. Treader, just so you know, that they play on the pitch. The Spurs play on the pitch. hit a button. Literally, hit a button.
Yeah.
It peels away in 3 parts. The football field rises up, and you play on that. It's artificial.
That and the Bernabeu are the two, and we'll get to that in a minute, where they have the cool new stadium where they can do that, which is, might I say, one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like, I got to watch a video of it, and I was like, oh, this is incredible.
But it's artificial turf.
It is.
As to what the football field is.
It's just manicured in a different manner because they do it indifferently.
Yes.
So the Eagles and Jags play in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium week 5. Week 6, the Jags and Texans play in Wembley. So again, going back to London, but different stadium. 1 week later, October 25th, the Pittsburgh Steelers and New Orleans Saints make the first NFL venture to Paris, where they'll play in Stade de France at 9:30 a.m. on October 25th. So that'll be an early game for me. Getting to watch the Steelers and Saints play in France. The Saints got the rights, quote-unquote, rights to France. They were one of the teams that gets the quote-unquote first right of fandom type of thing, and that makes sense for the Saints, the Fleur-de-Lis, all
maybe they could have the Coneheads to do be the honorary captains for the coin toss.
Possibly.
We're from France.
November 8th, week 9, the Bengals and Falcons play in the Bernabeu in Madrid. Week 10, November 15th, the Patriots and Lions play in the Allianz Arena, which is Munich, Germany. And then week 11, the Vikings and Niners back on the road again, play in Estadio Banorte in Mexico City. So the Niners have 2 games, week 1 and week 11, that are international for them. One, I believe, is a home. One, I believe, is an away. So they're keeping it even for them. Still rough. Still rough, Steve. And Adam Schefter put out this from Bill Sparrows, who put together a list of the projected miles traveled based on the home and away opponents. The number 1 team travel-wise, as you could project, is the 49ers at 38,105 projected season miles. Number 2 is the Rams, 3 is the Texans, 4 is the Cowboys. 32nd in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, 8,700 miles. 30,000 less miles of travel for teams 1 and 32. Of course, a lot of that for them is that the Saints, Falcons, Bucks, and Panthers are all close together. The other part is they don't have many. I don't think they have a West Coast trip this year, if I'm not mistaken, the Panthers. So they're pretty much staying in the Eastern region. Pretty easy. Travel around there, not travel internationally.
Yeah, that's a big plus for them.
Yeah.
The international games. I understand you're trying to grow your brand worldwide. I wouldn't doubt at some point. How about in the next 10 years they play a game in China?
Next 10 years, I'd say next 5 years.
Well, it depends.
Or I'd say an Asian game is coming sooner than later. I would say
depends on the international climate.
Yes.
That's why I say 10 years.
But that's why I'm saying
I want to keep it open-ended.
But I'd guess Japan, China, or South Korea is probably coming sooner than later. I'd guess they'd find one of the 3. I don't know which one, but
Japan I could see, but I mean, but I think at some point in China, because you're trying to get into the market. I got it. So I understand trying to grow the game worldwide and so forth. The fans that go to these games seem to love the NFL. They seem to embrace it. The Super Bowl is broadcast internationally anyway. But at the same time, I think you've got to be careful with something. Why are you as popular as you are? Americans. Okay? This is a uniquely American sport. You are where you are because from Maine to San Diego, Seattle to Miami, they love your product.
Can I give you an option? I'd be intrigued by it. What if you did like the preseason? What if it was?
See, I'm all for preseason games.
That's what I'm
played
like,
over there.
What if that first preseason quote unquote week is spread out over the span of a week, and you have teams going to Germany and London
here's the difference. When you play a regular season game, when the Eagles play say they play a regular season, the Eagles are not part of this, but who's playing? Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Preseason game number 1. Who's not playing?
Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. But that's why I'd say
see what I mean?
Because then you try and say, hey, even if it's kind of a gentleman's agreement, that first quarter is kind of a get everyone out there to like be there and exist, and you can see the fans and all this. At least it'll be something.
Not every team.
I know.
Because I'm not sure what Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin would play guys in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if Mike McCarthy did or not between Dallas and Green Bay.
Yeah.
So not everybody has that philosophy. And if you go to 18 games, you're going to have 2 preseason games, and there's going to be no desire to play anybody.
Can I give you some other possibilities for the future? I want to give a special, I think. So we're projecting a game in Asia somewhere in the future.
Sure.
I'd also throw South Africa in there. The NFL's trying to do more with Africa. They had their first event, I think, 22. Would it surprise me if South Africa, which does have big enough stadiums and has a big enough space in Johannesburg, if you put a game there, wouldn't shock me, because I wouldn't be surprised.
Again,
If I'm picking Africa, I'd probably pick Johannesburg in terms of
everything is, when you make these decisions, all will depend on political climate at the time.
Yeah.
So you go to England, the political climate is always going to be, it doesn't mean there aren't issues here and there.
Yeah.
But it's always, you go to France, you go to Germany, Australia, right? Mexico, you're not really, you know what I mean? You're not like jumping into Spain.
Australia.
Right. You're not jumping into a place that like people have questions. No, with all due respect, with Live Golf, okay, if you put a game in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, there would be blowback.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to make sure that, as a league, when's the right time to go someplace where there's not blowback for doing it.
Yes. I do want to, before we get into some more interesting news, the NBA yesterday, it was a bit of it was a very long day.
Yes.
So I want to talk first about Memphis Grizzlies forward Brandon Clark passed away yesterday at the age of 29. No details about his death were announced by the Grizzlies nor his agency Priority Sports, but he did pass away yesterday in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he was a former first-round pick, and he was with for 2 weeks, and then he went and then actually spent his entire career with Memphis, his playing career.
The longest tenured Grizzly.
He only played 2 games this year. He's had a lot of injuries in his career. When he played, he was a very good player. That's how you end up staying with a franchise for a long period of time, because you're bringing value over and over again, which he did. And then, of course, Jason Collins, brain cancer, passing away yesterday, and so it was a tough day. It
was a tough day. Sending our thoughts and prayers to the families, friends, loved ones, the fans, everybody. And Jason Collins also was, of course, notably the first openly gay player, served as a global ambassador for the NFL or for the NBA over the past decade. He was 47, and as you mentioned, passed away after being diagnosed with stage 4 glioblastoma.
Good Lord. Awful.
So, an awful day in the NBA. There's no good segue to it, so jumping over to other NBA news. Daryl Morey was relieved of his duties as president of basketball operations with the Philadelphia 76ers. They are going to be keeping coach Nick Nurse at the helm, but managing partner Josh Harris announced this on Tuesday. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Dale personally and professionally, and I'm grateful for his contributions over the last 6 seasons. After speaking with him, we believe it is time for a fresh start. Bob Myers will lead the search for the new executive for the 76ers. Of course, Myers was the architect behind the Warriors, so he's going to help lead that search. Morey had a 270 and 212 record with the Sixers, 5 playoff berths out of the 6 seasons, of course. What a weird tenure he had in Philly, because he had the good of drafting a VJ Edgecombe, but then he had the bad of the trading for signing Paul George, and the trading of picks and of this and of that. Like, it was very scattered.
There was a period of time where, really starting with the San Antonio Spurs, and they drafted or signed this, but they had Tim Duncan, they had Tony Parker, and they had Manu Ginobili. So they had 3 terrific players to build around the entire time. And the Miami Heat went that route when they traded for Chris Bosh, signed LeBron James to go with Dwayne Wade. 3. Through natural draft, you had Curry, you had Thompson. I don't really, no offense, I don't include Draymond Green in this thing.
But you had Curry and Thompson, and you were able to have Draymond and Iguodala kind of as that third.
And then they acquired at one point Kevin Durant. Now it became a big 3. So you had big 3s. And everybody kept going for the big 3. Well, Morey kept trying to go for the big 3. I've got Embiid. I want to get James Harden. I've got Embiid. I want to get Paul George.
I've got Tyrese Maxey, and he tried to build that into a big 3, which in theory, you have a guard, a wing, and a center. It's a pretty good combination.
Except what Daryl Morey proved is you have to have the right 3.
The right 3 and the right balance.
Right.
That the reason LeBron, Bosh, and Wade worked is that LeBron as a wing, Bosh is kind of your stretch 5, and Wade was a guard.
They're
and
also in the prime of their careers.
And also they all understood what was happening, which was Dwayne Wade said it. That first year, it took him a little bit to give up kind of control. He had to give up the responsibility to LeBron because LeBron was the better player.
Right.
Bosh has also said, he had to get in his head, I am number 3 here. I'm going to do my role and do it to the best of my ability. And he did it really well.
Well, that's something LeBron talked about this year with the Lakers. He said, I had to mentally change because I became the third option. He said, I've never been the third option in my life. Then when Luka went out, he went back to his old role.
But it becomes a switch. Or the Spurs. Ginobili was, of course, coming off the bench. And so it was a little easier for that because Ginobili and Parker generally weren't on the floor for the full game together.
Right. But again,
you could kind of rotate it.
Everything worked in 3, so he took the idea of the 3s, and he kept coming up with the wrong chemistry and combination every time he did it. And the problem is what he then did after Embiid's NBA MVP season. He signed him to a long-term contract. And I had said at the time, I said, it's a mistake. You cannot have a guy with that kind of injury history and sign him to a long-term deal. I said, you have to develop on the pro level a lack of sentimentality about things because why were the 49ers during that period of time in the 80s and 90s successful over and over again? Because Bill Walsh was the GM, and Bill Walsh would look at people and go, look, I've told the Randy Cross story. You've got 5 years left in the league. I only want the 2 good ones.
What has Belichick
done? Bill Belichick
Same
did
thing.
that over and over again. Well, they signed him to a deal. Well, guess what? Guess who they can't move right now?
Embiid.
They can't move him.
They can't move him nor Paul George. After this past season, they now Embiid has 2 years and a player option for a third. Yeah. George has a year and a player option for a second year. And then you've got the better ones of the Tyrese Maxey, who, of course, is blossoming into a star. He's got a $40 million deal this year, up to 46.
No, he's a terrific scorer. He's not a great shooter, but he's a terrific scorer.
And he's getting better at shooting.
Yep.
You then got the rookie VJ Edgecombe, who's now got 3 years left. He has 1 year plus the 2 team option years, so he's got 3 years left.
Yep.
But you're going to have to negotiate after this coming season, probably. It's kind of how it works, is when you've got about 2 years left, you renegotiate your contract, you get the next big one.
But you're stuck with a guy that can only play 30-some-odd games a year.
No one's going to want to pay $60 million bucks a year for Embiid for when he's getting older and more hurt, and same with Paul George.
And when he played against the Celtics, he was the determining factor. There are 2 determining factors in the Celtics series. One was the fact the Celtics didn't hit their threes.
No.
Okay? The other one was, and I remember we were at the field to do the show with Matt Campbell and Tanisha Wright. And somebody said, what do you think of that? How can the Sixers beat the Celtics? I said, the Celtics do not have a matchup at center. I said, that's the weakest part of that team. Well, then when Embiid got in, he played great.
Because they didn't have anyone to match up with
They
him.
didn't have any matchup for him. When Embiid plays, he's terrific.
But as you've taught me, when you just say the words, when he plays.
Okay, when you have to start a sentence to evaluate a player and you start with the 3 words, when he plays, that's not good.
No.
Because that means they're out a lot. And he is out a lot. And that is, and he's not going to get better.
He's only going to get worse. He ended the season healthily. Doesn't mean he's going to start the year healthy. Doesn't mean any of that. Paul George the same. He ended the year healthy because he was out 25 games with a suspension. So it helped him be healthier for the postseason.
I mean, now, Embiid missed the first couple games of the Celtics because of an appendectomy. That happens. That happens.
He has the craziest injuries.
But that happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
You can't predict an appendectomy.
I mean, when Joey Porter Jr. was here and he missed a bunch of games, that's what happened with him. Joey had an appendectomy. He practiced on a Sunday night, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't feel great. And all of a sudden on Monday he had to have the procedure done. I mean, things like that happen. That's to a young guy at Joey P. I mean, that happened when he was here. So, but then they held him out of a playoff game. Like held him out because, again, he can't play all these consecutive games. He can't do it. Like, this is how, you're Nick Nurse, like going, okay, so I got to play with one arm tied behind my back again tonight? Yeah, this will be great. Can't wait. And, and you go along with it because there are only 30 of these jobs in the world.
Yeah.
So you do go along with it. But you've got a contract with him that is really difficult to move.
It's immovable.
It's
getting there.
You have a contract with Paul George that is difficult for a guy that is good, like in other words, great, excellent, really good. Then you get to fair to mediocre. He's good. In other words, there's 3 levels above him. I've never been a big Paul George guy. Never have been.
If he was on a $25 million contract, not $50 million, I'd be okay with it.
If I'm on a $10 million contract, I'd be okay with it.
Of course.
Not 25.
But 54 to 57 is just a lot of money.
Like what people think of him in this league, I'm baffled by. Like, did he have a couple of good years with Indiana? Sure. Oklahoma City, forget that. Clippers, forget that. He's had a lot of forget that seasons. Like a lot of them. Like that's why I can't get him past. Like I'm 3 levels down before I get to him on the 4th level. That's where I think he is. And they treat him contractually as the missing piece. No, the only thing missing is him.
Let's say, Steve Jones, you become the general manager or the whatever, the president of basketball ops, whatever that title is for the Sixers. Let's say you're given full control to do whatever you want. And if I'm in your shoes, this coming season, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre, Drummond, they're all out of contract. Kyle Lowry's gone. He's retiring probably. He's 40 now.
Right.
But you've got Embiid, George, Maxey, and Edgecombe under contract. Hypothetically, Maxey and Edgecombe are who you want to build around. 25 and 20 years old. That's your next 10 years, are those 2 guys.
Sure.
If I can do literally anything to trade away Embiid and George, I do it. And I just get them out the door. Get the 2 of them out the door, clean house.
Yeah, I don't know.
You then say Maxey and Edgecombe are who we build around.
Okay, I don't know what the rules are in the NBA and the ability for you to pick up part of the contract. In Major League Baseball, you can pick up part of the contract.
It's got to be within a certain number, but you can get a lot of players who have expiring deals. No,
I'm saying though the ability to move. Like in other words, we'll trade Embiid, but we'll pick up $20 million of the $60 million. See, I don't think you're not allowed to do that in the NBA. See, in Major League Baseball, you can.
At the NBA, it is you have to be within a certain percentage number to match the contract. And if you're over the salary cap and into the luxury tax, the aprons are there to where you have to basically be dollar for dollar. So when it comes to salaries for this coming season for Embiid,
but I'm saying whomever takes over this job, you got your hands tied.
Yeah.
By the contracts they brought in, and again, exactly where are you? Okay, you were Yes, you beat the Celtics in the opening round. You're the 7th seed. Okay, you're this close to the play-in.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not this close to the number 1 seed. You're this close to the play-in. That's where you are. And so it is not. I don't think it's an envious job that you envy, and their draft pick is down the line.
It is. In terms of salaries, next season Embiid will be the 6th highest paid player.
Because last year they got Edgecombe with what, the 4th?
The 3rd pick.
3rd pick.
So Edgecombe was the 3rd pick, which was they lucked into it because they were sucked enough to keep their pick to then move up in the draft and get the 3rd pick, which was VJ Edgecombe, who has been incredible.
Right.
And you've got him and you've got Max.
Because I kept wondering if they were going to take Bailey, and they didn't. Bailey went to Utah.
But their backcourt is set. For the next 5-10 years, you have your backcourt. Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. You don't got to worry about that.
The next 3 years, your backcourt is set.
Okay.
You're not set the next 5
But my
10
point
years.
is, you don't have to think about them.
Okay.
They are there. They're going to be there. Don't think about it. You got to figure out the other 3 positions on the court. All of them are the bigger players, and what is a big necessity is a big wing. I don't know what you do, how you match the salaries here, but you got to find something. I know, of course, the NBA is going to be wild this summer, of course, because Giannis is probably going to get traded. Jaylen Brown has been really weird.
Jaylen Brown's staying in Boston.
He's staying in Boston.
Nothing to do.
He just said some weird comments.
But here's the difference between, Jaylen Brown. Remember, next year, Tatum's healthy the whole season.
Yeah.
Right? So Brown and Tatum together, and then you're going to build around it. They'll keep Pritchard. I think they've got to come up with a better option in the middle.
They probably need a more physical defensive presence. What they did was, when they picked up Porzingis and they picked up Holiday, they changed the dynamics of their team because they had 5 of the same guy out there. Derek White played about the same kind of game as Brown, played the same kind of game as Tatum, played the same kind of game as Malcolm Brogdon, played the same kind of game as Marcus Smart, right? Well, now you bring in Holiday, different than Smart. You bring in Porzingis, different than Brogdon. Now you've got that. So the Celtics Brad Stevens needs to find a guy, not multiple, a guy that gives them a different type of option on the floor, right? Yeah.
Philadelphia needs to think the same way, except their hands are tied. They can't bring in that guy because they've already got all the money invested in these 2 guys that are barely going to help you.
Yeah. And if you are...
And Giannis is going to get moved. And this, because Milwaukee's a mess.
Well,
Milwaukee has gone from being a world champion to not being a mess.
Well, we'll discuss them in a second. So the Celtics, you mentioned the centerpiece. They are back under the luxury tax after doing all of their trades. They're under the apron, so they can do what they want in free agency. Their one free agent is Nikola Vucevic, who they got as a center to try and be a piece. They traded away Anthony Simons after they made the Drew Holiday trade.
Which is
fine. So they have the money to be able to go and get somebody this offseason.
Right.
And in terms of free agents, there's not a lot this summer who are going to be the big quote-unquote money free agents. There's just not a lot of them. I don't really know who your center is going to be. Neemias Queta was really good, and he was great. Can he be a bigger presence down low is a different story because you mentioned...
Again, here's the issue.
Embiid beat him up.
Where are you? You are closer to what than to what? You are closer to 8, the play-in, than you are to 1 or 2. That's where you are.
Yeah.
Hey? And so that's... And you don't want to be playing this lottery game and things like that. It's like they got in the lottery last year. They got a really good player out of it. Well,
the Sixers, yeah,
the Sixers. So what did they get out of it? Well, they got this terrific player. Who I think is really good, VJ Edgecombe, and it got them 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not as if you're like, hey, we got this guy and that. Right? That's why I give what San Antonio's done is so impressive because through the draft and a key trade, they've done a good job of spotting talent, fitting it together. Harper, Castle, Wembanyama, acquiring Fox, and so forth. And they put together a nice, balanced team. The Sixers are not a nice, balanced team.
And neither are the Bucks. You mentioned.
No, the Bucks are a mess.
So let's discuss the Bucks. One of my favorite thought processes that you have to have. So firstly, we have to mention before anything else goes on, For the next 4 seasons, you have $22.5 million on the payroll because you waived and stretched Damian Lillard. So the next 4 years, $22 million of your salary cap, gone.
Okay, now let's go back to what I said earlier. What were the Bucks trying to recreate?
Big three.
Big three.
But they only got 2.
Giannis, they had Middleton, I think, when they started, right?
Yeah, but then they had to, in the Dame stuff, they got rid of Middleton.
So you bring in Lillard, you're like, everything's like, oh. And, of course, the typical
Giannis, Holiday, Middleton work.
This is why I can't watch pregame shows, talk shows, things like that. They get Lillard. Oh, this is it. Oh, looks like I'm sitting there going, are you sure? I'm not so sure about this. Are you sure? Right? And they're going on, and this is, they got Dame. They got that. And all of a sudden, it's like they're shocked it doesn't work. Like, of course you're shocked it doesn't work. I said, you got to, be open-minded as to whether it's going to work or not. And they're not open-minded about that because it's a name. They're enamored with the name and not with the skill set and how it matches up with other skill sets. It's not on those sets, there's not a lot of big thinking.
No. And if you're the Bucks right now, of course, they had Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis. That was a big quote-unquote 3 that worked. It worked, won them a title.
Sure
Great.
it did. Because guess what? Giannis, a terrific player.
Both ends of the court.
Okay. Holiday, excellent defensive guard, thinks about others first, and then if I need to score, scores. Exactly the mentality you need. That's why Elliot Cadeau works so well at Michigan.
Middleton.
Right? And then Middleton,
great scorer.
Doesn't think of himself as a star, thinks of himself as a really good player, and I'm just going to do my part, and it turns out he's darn good at it. Okay? And everybody got to see in the Phoenix Championship Series, this guy really is a player.
And so now you've got Giannis under contract this year. He has a player option for next season.
Yeah.
You then got Miles Turner's contract, which he had a bad year. He's 30. Kyle Kuzma's got 1 year left. He's on $20 million. He's 30.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis has 1 year plus a player option. He's 31. You then have Ryan Rollins, who looks is a good guard, but he's got a 1+1 as well. AJ Green is the only other player under contract going forward. He's got a 4-year, $45 million deal, sure. But then they've got half their roster is gone. Ousmane Dieng gone, Kevin Porter Jr. player option, Gary Trent player option, Gary Harris player option, Taurean Prince player option, Jericho Sims player option. They're going to have to clean out.
This is what I see in the NBA. This is where we've seen the transition where now, for the first time in decades, youth is being served. Okay? Oklahoma City, as we talked about yesterday, young. All right. I think for the San Antonio, no question, for the most part, young. Youth is being served in the league. After decades of we need to be older and we need to have a big 3. You have too many people still in that mindset, I need a big 3. The Clippers have been trying to do their big 3 for years, and it never works.
Close but no cigar, a whole lot of times.
It just doesn't work.
Unless you have the right big 3.
Right? It's
Duncan, Parker, Ginobili works, and what is Tim Duncan considered? One of the best players of all time. The big 3 of LeBron, Wade, and Bosh worked. What's LeBron considered? One of the best players of all time. To some extent, the right talented person can help make it function. And
by the way, at the end for San Antonio, they had Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, and then they got Kawhi Leonard, and he extended their window just long enough to win it.
He also extended their careers.
He did.
And look, so there has to be now, in this desire to get a big 3 because everybody thinks that's how it works, there has to be a desire now to build better teams. And there's too much in the NBA. You just mentioned all those names at Milwaukee. You know what it is? It's all a hodgepodge. And there's too many NBA teams that are a hodgepodge right now, and it doesn't seem like there's real thought of how to build a team. How do I get 8 guys that bring a skill set to the table instead of a name? Like Gary Harris is a name. Yeah, Gary Harris is a good player, right? But I need to have somebody who knows how to play a 5. I need to have somebody that knows how to be a power forward but can stretch out and shoot threes. Okay? I need to have a wing that can shoot threes and then battle inside. I need to have an off guard that can really shoot. I need to have a point guard that thinks about making everybody else better first. And then if you need me to score, I will score. Trae Young. All right. I'm not.
No, I know.
Okay?
I know.
All right. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Kyrie Irving in some ways is like that. And you don't have that in this league in too many ways. Everybody, it's a hodgepodge because you have too many people trying to get their own. Right? And then I don't know if I want to be in the playing game. The league is. There's so many poorly constructed teams in the league. It's stunning. And that's why I get baffled by the success that the league has, because there's a lot of mediocre in the league.
There is. You're right.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all on Sports Talk with Steve Jones.